What's going on? This is Yancey, author and producer of the This Is Why series. Make sure you go now and subscribe to my website, www.newfacemanagement.org. This is why you go to college.
Face Entertainment.
New Face Family. New Face Family.
This is why you go to college.
New Face Entertainment.
New Face Entertainment.
This is why you go to college.
New Face Entertainment.
This is why you go to college.
This is why you go to college.
And this is why you go to college.
You know what it is. New Face Entertainment. Live and direct, Oakland, California.
Well, cool. All right, here we go.
Hey, yes, it's gonna be great, bro.
My
It's
God.
gonna be great. I got you.
Yeah, what's up,
It's
man?
gonna be great. What's going on, Yancey?
All right, well, I just wanted to introduce you guys. Here we go. We're in Oakland, California for the documentary This Is Why, a historical reflection of college life outside the classroom. I'm with my good friend, my little bro,
Yeah.
my guy. He can speak for himself. Go ahead.
Yo, family, what's going on? It's Karega Bailey checking in here. We in Oakland, California today. But this conversation should be rich, and it'll tell you a few different places we've been and how the bond has sustained us in different geographic locations, different life chapters, different challenges, different invitations to find out how great your network is, how great your bond is, how great you are. So it should be dope.
Cool. All right. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey to Hampton, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So rewind real quick. I was in Sacramento, California, South Sac, namely Meadowview. Rest in peace, Stephon Clark. I was in Meadowview, and my roommate and good friend, he was going to a black college tour, but we played on the same basketball team, and we had basketball practice after he had to go to that meeting. So I would roll with him on the meeting to get to practice.
Right.
Right? And right around the time the financial deposit had to be secured, a parent came to me and said she noticed I didn't pay my deposit. And I told her, well, respectfully, man, that's a good observation, but, you know, I was never planning on going. She's like, but you've been part of the community, you've been part of the cohort, you've been part of the experience, you know, you really have a place here. You're our children's friend. And we're gonna identify exactly what that means. But she insisted that I take the opportunity to go.
Okay.
And she, being Linda Stokes, whose daughter also went to Hampton, Mylene Stokes, she wrote down a list of people who she thought I should pitch to about how they support me. So she gave me a check and a list of names of folks she wanted me to go talk to and make my case, tell them about myself and tell them how they can support me. Now, rewind, because that was even before Hampton, but look at the power of the black community and its voice when you talk about HBCUs, right? So there was a parent community that was well aware of what we would stand to gain if we got to go to school together. And they wanted to ensure that I had that opportunity, and I thought that was remarkable because that shaped the trajectory. So what happens is Miss Linda Stokes put the first deposit down, and then other parents and other community members sponsored me to go on this college tour. And that's how I got on the college tour, to decide that Hampton would be an option. So I was there during the summer, free college. That's how I even got to know what New Face was before I got there.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? So I was there and on a college tour. And that's how I got to Hampton from South Sacramento. And it was really a powerful community testament because they sent me. My community sent me from the college tour to the first payment for my deposit to my computer, my bedding. These were all contributions of my community, namely the parents of my roommate, Marcus Atkins, at the time. So they saw that I had the drive, and they got me across the finish line. And then, you know, as you know, the rest, I had to get busy. The rest is history.
All right.
Yeah, man.
What was your major back at Hampton?
Sociology.
Sociology?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. That's a sociology major.
cool. So, what would you say about your experience, with, at Hampton, and what did it do for you, going to HBCU and getting that?
Mm-hmm. Well, the ill part about the HBCU experience was that it was education and character development at multiple levels, all happened simultaneously. Just for example, let's just kind of like stratify what we're talking about here. So, something as simple as logistics, maybe getting around. We were forming our own networks based on geographic region, right? And that's how I got to know Phil, right? Because he was out of the same region. And something as little as transportation around, maybe grocery, or more importantly, how to get to and from the airport, right? Because you are in a whole nother setting, a whole nother space.
Right.
And you have to establish these bonds and these norms that help you kind of resituate. You dig what I'm saying? And we were... Refresh the question? Peace.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, as we're dealing with HBCUs, and I was going to talk about your experience at Hampton, you know, and your experience with the HBCUs and how it.
So that's to say, HBCUs are education at multiple levels. So you just have like the basic ability to like network and plan for self-independence. Cool. But you did that in a community of folks who understood you, right? So you had like access to commonalities that will help you problem solve faster than being an anomaly. And then HBCUs also gave you this idea of, it changed the narrative for me. I started to see how expansive the African diaspora was, and how diverse the Black experience is, and how many different languages we speak and different regions we come from, and how we academically compete and how we're sound. And I also felt like, being at an HBCU, namely Hampton, it was also particularly important to find a way to be connected to community outside of Hampton. Right? And different ways to give back, because many of us understood that where we had the opportunity to get this education, what was situated around it were like many areas we came from. So naturally we saw the need outside the university jurisdiction. So HBCU, man, was just a multiple character education, access to the best and brightest academic frameworks, cultural competency, even having the idea, the conviction in yourself that you were capable, that you were qualified, because your professors would, one, challenge you and refine you to make sure that you were. But you came out of a whole community of Black scholarship. So whether you're talking internships or, job placements, you got a whole community of folks who are all trying, who are all sliding each other references and information. You know what I'm saying? So it was really a great introduction to how I wanted to exist in the world outside of HBCU.
Right. All right. So when you kind of combine that with the idea with New Face, right? You talked about the networking aspect, where because you and Phil are from the West Coast, you have that commonality. So you guys work out certain things to work together, being at Hampton. And the same thing happens for some people from different parts of Maryland, different parts of Ohio.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But with New Face, we were a conglomerate of everybody.
Yep.
Everybody from everywhere. You know. So how did that help in your growing within Hampton?
Well, one of the little things, it made you a representative of a global citizen. It gave you access to other regions, other cultures. You could go see what it was like in Maryland with one of your people, right? Take a ride out there with their family. But New Face also, it really met a really huge social need. And that's this idea of like uniqueness in your belonging. New Face wasn't actually a space that required anybody to conform to fit, right? It was based on uniqueness. And I think that's particularly powerful when you look at how schools are divided and stratified. It was actually a community space, right? So like, let's fast forward and use like 2018 language, right? It was a community space. It had equity and voice. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, it was really forward thinking in terms of how how we could exist in our own space, right? It was really for the people, by the people.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Business models created from such, sustainability created from such. And honestly, it was just like when you get these bonds that are they're more than the college experience. They kind of mean more than that. Because in New Face, a lot of us held each other down through some like close times.
Right.
You know what I mean? On some real close times, like when folks couldn't get home. You know what I'm saying? Crashing at the crib. Getting to know more about each other, more about each other's stories. So naturally the friendships lasted beyond, you know what I'm saying, the undergraduate experience. So here we are, you know what I'm saying, 10 years, 13 years, 15 years later. Because of New Face, because of the bonds we held, because of how we held each other down. It was a really dope experience, if you ask me.
All right, so what do you remember about our relationship, our beginnings, or our transitions? I mean, we talked about a lot of things all the time. We always go all over the place. I just know I remember from me meeting you.
Yeah.
You know, you just had a lot of energy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And
that.
And I'm like, yo, we gotta get this dude around more often because his energy.
He called me hyphy. He was like, "What's good?"
Yeah.
Like, bruh came in. Like I vividly remember too, because we came straight out of Northern California. Right, this is 2004. So this is like the height of the hyphy movement. And by the way, like what a ride it was, and what a real cultural stamp it is to be here in the Bay Area. But yeah, man, came in 2004 straight off the hyphy movement, and naturally coming all the way from California, and not really sure if how somebody gonna fit or adapt. Be like, I gotta get where I can get, right?
Right.
Get in where I fit in. And you was just so. You were so cool with it. I remember, like, you know what I'm saying? You was like, bro, you know what I'm saying? You put your arm around me and talking to me like, what's good? Where you from? What's the story? And believe it or not, though, I'm going to keep it real with you. That wasn't everybody's responses for whatever reasons, right? Like, you got to understand, like, college is really like late adolescence. But for whatever reason, that wasn't everybody's responses. And your response was cool, and it was inviting. And plus, I also remember, too, like, the type of young man I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I needed straight up energy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you was a different person than what you were back then.
Man.
You know,
I needed straight up energy, and everything that you was kicking came back correct. You know what I'm saying? So I recognize a real one. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I recognize a real one, and I'm so glad I did, because I remember just the years after, all the different conversations,
I know.
all the different pieces of advice.
I know I wanted to speak on what we talked about before, where because I didn't remember it as much, but when I was teaching high school and you were still in undergrad.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, yes, he believed it. So I'm like, what? This is year 11 in urban education, full time since, and I remember calling Yancey when I was in undergrad, trying to find my avenue into the classroom, because I wasn't an education major. I was a sociology major. So you were talking to me about the different alternative courses you were able to teach, the different electives you were able to teach to kind of just get you in there.
So I taught business.
Precisely, right? But we all know that, like, a teacher isn't what the subject they teach, right? It's who they teach and how those bonds are established and how those relationships are attended to. So, yeah, man, like before my first time in the classroom, I was calling you, getting heads up, asking advice on how could I go ahead, you know, what are the different ways to make impact, man. And 11 years later, I'm still kicking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was dope. Imagine somebody meets you at a party, exchange of energy. I mean, this is as free as you imagine yourself can be. And that same person who meets you in that party setting finds a way to bring you into a bond, check on you, and you fast forward a few years later and they still answering the phone, right? Still providing, you know what I'm saying, access to resources. Whatever game you had, whatever advice you had, you were able to transpose that. Now you just take that and you multiply it times all the members and all the bonds and all the relationships.
Yep.
And all the relocation when somebody shows up in a city and the person who you have there to help you transition to that city is somebody you have from your New Face experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, things like that happen, yo. So I say time well invested, for real.
Yeah. Well,
Time well invested.
I definitely want to just touch on the education.
Yeah.
Because obviously this documentary is for those high school students. It's for those college students that still don't know, what college is for. Those high school students that are trying to figure it out or don't know they want to leave home, don't know they want to stay, Can we just, talk about your journey in education and different areas that you've gone to and what you're doing now? So
Totally. So out of undergrad, I actually taught with Teach for America, and I was in DC. I taught in DC public schools, and then following the 2 years, I taught some more. So I was teaching special education, math, middle school, and then a few years later I became a dean, and I was a dean at Maya Angelou Public Charter in DC, and that was a really powerful time for me because I was starting to able to impact the way we see culture, the way we see young folks and what their capital is and what their gifts are. And I was doing that work in DC while building my own narrative, So I was using music as a form to report live and direct from the hope and hopelessness that I saw. And that was ill because it allowed me to kind of weave together two realities. The young folks' voice, right? And the ones who just coming out of college who can make an impact on it. You know what I'm saying? Because for a lot of times, those are key mentorship years. Those are key activity years, right? While you can. So I was trying to weave those realities together. And then following the work I was as a dean in DC, I got a call from the big homie, Jeff Duncan Andrade, about opening a school in Oakland called Roses in Concrete. And he said, yo, we got the green light. So I relocated here to help open the school and attend to the culture of the young folks, a culture of freedom, a way to rethink the way we use school time, the way to rethink the way we use community time, just that bond. Like, what do I really want to teach you if I have you here?
Yeah.
So trying to get to those essential questions as we prepare a generation for freedom. So that's the track that I've been on. So that brings me here to Oakland, California. The 4th school year starts just next week. Roses in Concrete, Oakland, California. You definitely got to come check it out if you're ever in the town. There's some amazing things going on for freedom, for black and brown folk over there. And honestly, like, Roses in every school that I've ever been in, is they benefit directly from my work at HBCU.
Right.
They benefit directly from my critical understanding around the black experience. Like, the black experience isn't just something to be lived without taking time to understand what you're living. And we learn that no matter what your major is at Hampton. But sociology attributed to me understanding the margins that I had to jump through and climb through, and what does it look like to be black in America, and how HBCUs create opportunities for young folks to come from anywhere, right? And have a chance to not only learn in an academic setting, but have their position in this world affirmed. And that's not the case for everyone. So the HBCU poured directly into me, and because of those experiences, and went on to for my my post-secondary education and things like that, I always got to frame my narrative from a black experience. So every school that I've ever worked in benefits greatly because I came out of HBCU and because I came out of Hampton. And I tell the young folks all the time in education, so that we aren't in debt to you, like, take the time and start to build the relationships with educators who help you see inside you, the ones who really see something inside you. Because the real goal in life is to really understand yourself, and that critically informs where you stand in this world, or how you feel when the wind blows right or left. You want to be grounded in something. You want to be grounded in what you know inside of yourself. So for all my young folks, use education as a passport to learn about yourself. The field of study will just be your degree, your field of study. It'll allow you to have a scientific approach to something outside yourself. But take that as a passport to learn more about yourself. Learn more about your bonds, learn more about other cultures, other people, other region. That's life's richest capital. So college is just a ticket to learn more about yourself. And then you add value to your communities from that point out.
All right. You didn't do this journey by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you did want to talk about that, that bond, that black love.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Um,
So I was also, and I'm also actually, I'm gonna keep it being too. I'm actually one of the unique beneficiaries of New Face's whatever credential that was, right? Whatever that was, it really actually helped me sustain a relationship. Crazy enough as it was, but imagine my wife now of 6 years, shout out to Fee, we went to Hampton together as well, right? And we both from Sacramento. And she came to Hampton a year after I did. New Face gave me an understanding of the social landscape. Honestly, it did. Of what is, what isn't, good bonds, friendships that mean you well, right? Because just to keep it real, anybody who chooses to exist in any type of relationship in undergrad is subject to a lot of external pressures, a lot of external voices. Imagine that I was so blessed to go ahead and make friends in right spaces, so those voices became affirming and not distracting voices.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
When I got a big bro like Yancey years ahead of me on the landscape, you just gonna offer the good advice where you can, or block where you can, or do what you can, right? But like having those types of relationships with my big homies and my big brothers, it actually really did help, right? Because the voices were affirming and not distracting or negating. And to keep it being, right, I knew where we was going to be. That, you know what I'm saying, like, here's something to do. You don't have to sit around and not have something to do.
Right.
And you don't have to take an invitation to go to something questionable, right? Take an invitation to come to something where you know your people going to be. You're going to be good, right? And to keep it real, like, you know, for young women traveling thousands of miles away from home, just having that safety, having those bonds, those people who mean you well. So it really did actually provide an opportunity to, like, yo, you don't gotta look for something more. You know what I'm saying? Here's the move.
Right.
We got it popping.
We got it. We here.
We got it popping.
We family, and let's do it.
We got it popping from this region. You need that party. Okay, you got to study. Here's another one. You dig what I'm saying? You got to, okay. You need to study. Okay, here's a study group. This for you, these folks, they getting it in. Here's another one. There's opportunities to really gather. And those do matter, yo. So shout out to that. So yeah, Fee, I keep it being, yo. Like, New Face definitely gave some juice, right? Because I'm coming from Cali. I'm coming all the way from across the country. I didn't come deep. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't fortunate like the New York cats, right? They was deep, right?
Yeah, hundreds per year.
Legit. Yeah. So to really land from the West Coast and land inside something so official was that was a smooth little blessing right there. Keep it a beam, man, which is why we still answer each other's calls, which is why there's still love, which is why we check up on each other. This is why we know how each other are doing, you know, families and such. It created a bond, yo, and bonds are what I believe humanity is built on. First, having a healthy relationship with yourself, but the way you have relationships and bonds in places, yo, it makes traveling so much easier.
Yeah.
It makes traveling so much easier. And I'm grateful for it, man. But New Face was ahead of its time because it was an entrepreneurial effort. It was a social gathering. It was a social impact. community service projects out the Yang. Let's not forget the community service, which is what made cool.
Yeah.
Right? We was able to pull off dozens of community service
We had
feeds
people bringing canned goods just to come to the party.
Totally just revamping the narrative around how to, what the cool was. So when you have that many people centralized and willing to do, willing to work toward one goal, that's power. That's power. That banner was power, yo. And shout out to all the impact work we did. Shout out to all the impact work, for real.
All right, so
Real quick, sorry. This memory card is full.
okay.
Do you know the other ones?
And I think that we used them all on that one.
Alright, so you're gonna zoom that specifically on him and let him get your last good question, and I'll put the camera on.
Wait, say it again.
This memory card is full.
So, but it still has time on it right now.
No,
All right, so we're good. We finish on this one.
that's what I'm saying. So
Alright.
just focus on that one. You wanna move it more in the middle, or you go where it's at?
Yeah.
And the next question is, don't look at this one.
Yeah, but he kind of already he touched on that. Yeah, he touched. Yeah, that one we're gonna be good with. I mean, we're gonna wrap it up. But the main thing is the other thing, topic wise, cause we're in the music setting, so we gotta talk about the music and you can say did you remember one of the most memorable New Face parties, and then that could segue that into what you're doing now with music. Straight up. So, did you have a favorite event or theme or anything that we did?
Well,
we had.
nah, you know what? I can't front though. Like, put it on file. One of my favorite. It was always. What was my favorite New Face? I can't.
Yeah, we had the skating parties, bowling parties, Mardi Gras, Rep Your Coast.
Your Rep Your Coast used to go hard, but you got to remember, Yancey. Remember, I went from a regular party attendee to security. So my later New Face experiences kind of changed because I was working.
We had Joe Smith recording in LA too.
Oh, word.
He talked about the same thing, right?
So Joe, right? So me and Joe know each other from SAC way back, and Joe brought me onto a security company, and we were being employed. Just look at all these levels though on the real, yo. Like, we were employed through contracts with New Face while being a member of the community. But pause, like I'm not.
It's crazy how it happens,
I'm not at all making no reference to policing, but we took care of our own. So we were members of the community, serving the community.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
And that was my thing. You remember?
Yeah.
It's like I know the security team, but I need people there that I know. That I could be like,
precisely.
yo.
Precisely.
And that's
precisely, yo.
Right.
For real. Yeah. So my experience is kind of take on a little bit of a blur because for the last 2 years, right, I'm working directly as guest services, ensuring and making sure that folks are having a good time and folks are respecting the space and the right of others to have a good time. But there was one particular party in which I loved how fast we isolated the conflict, removed it, and folks got back to having a good time like it never happened.
Right.
And that's on some that's high signature right there. You know what I'm saying? Because we took care of each other.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? So it wasn't just on some isolated security got to handle that. You came over. You know what I'm saying? And situation was contained and removed, and we kept going.
Right.
And it was a hit. It was a hit. People made what I'm saying? People made what they came to make, the profit, relationships, the bonds. And it was ill too, right? Because real careers were started out of New Face ideas or New Face experiences, DJs' careers.
DJs, like,
you know what I'm saying?
Like it's the ones that we know about,
Yeah.
but then even Joe jumped on. He talked about he started his whole security company and everything because of what he experienced with New Face.
Legit, people had businesses popping out of it, and naturally, the music being one of those things. And there were a lot of other talents in there. But namely, you had some being DJs, you had some folks creating music, getting catalogs off. And I kept creating the music, right? And it kept working on the story and kept working on the feel and kept working on the truth. until it eventually landed us in Oakland, California, knocking out our album here at Zoo Labs.
And the name of your group?
Yeah, Soul Development, Source of Light Development. And I mean, you got 3 folks from Hampton right in there. You got Lauren Adams, right? You got Felicia. And what we've been able to do with the music is curate for the culture, right? And the things like Soul Development are now commonplace, and the thing like Peace King, the crowns are now commonplace because you add staples to the culture. You don't come to extract. Places like the Bay are under high attack for people who come to extract, right, and take away and not add value. So what we kept doing, man, we just kept making the music to add value to the experience and really speak to what I call hope and hopelessness. You know what I mean? Because we all gonna have the challenges. And after everybody achieves what they want to achieve, the distraction comes the next goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at you. You're going across the country to gather this story. And when someone has passion, they're going to be willing to work that hard to pursue that passion. And you're watching it come together. You're watching different people. And I realized the thing about music is it's the passion that drives. And folks, that's what makes the music authentic, at least for who I'm talking to, when they can feel it. So we're in a good spot, you know what I'm saying? So definitely check out Soul Development. And the records, we released a single, Helicopter. The album is forthcoming. We do a lot of festivals, a lot of stuff for the people. But keep on the look, Soul Development.
Cool.
Word.
All right. And that pretty much wraps it up. Good to go. This man right here, Karega Bailey, Peace King.